Okay, my friends, let's go on with the lesson. We're getting into some fairly interesting and rather deep material. We're up to Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. We're talking about the woman that is called the whore that rides the beast, so to speak, and the beast is and the woman are upon the many waters. The many waters is symbolic of the the peoples of the earth governed by their emotional nature. And upon her forehead, the woman, was a name written: Mystery Babylon, the Great, Mother of Harlots and Abominations of the Earth. Now, keep in mind, there's two women talked about in the book. One in chapter 12, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and she gives birth to the Christ child. Okay. So this is the destiny of the positive use of the female energy to be clothed with the sun, in other words, light and truth, have the moon under her feet. The moon is symbolic of the lower emotional nature. So she controls the lower emotional nature that is female, but the negative part of the female self she controls. And then when this happens, she gives birth to the Christ child. And as soon as the birth pains happen, she's attacked by the red dragon that tries to devour the child as soon as it's born, it says. But then we have just the opposite. We have the woman here who is controlled by the lower nature. And this is called, and her name, it says, is called Mystery Babylon, the Great, Mother of Harlots and Abominations of the Earth. Now, it uses name singular, but the name singular is identified with, composed of quite a few words. So let's go through these words that's symbolic of her. And what's interesting is the disciples of that follow Christ, the 144,000, it says, they have the name of God in their forehead. Well, this harlot has a name in her forehead too. And back in the Roman times, the harlots were pretty well accepted. They were dressed similarly, and they had a frontlet on their foreheads, which identified them with their actual names. So you could, as you're walking down the streets in Rome, you could tell which ones were the harlots and which ones were not by the way
Were
they
they dressed
dressed
in
and
scarlet?
having their name on their forehead. Okay, so
They were
that's
dressed in
pretty
scarlet.
interesting. Now it says that now this harlot that is symbolized here as the negative uh, part of the female energy has this name. The first part of the name is mystery. Okay, why is it mystery associated with the wrong use of female energy? It's because the female energy itself is a mystery. As we said, the female aspect wasn't really understood by humanity until Newton discovered what gravity was. And gravity is a female energy because it's invisible and it pulls matter into form. And so this is an aspect of the female energy that it attracts everything. And so everything is a mystery to the female, just like gravity was a mystery. You can't see it. It's still a mystery to scientists. They still can't explain what actually creates gravity. It's a mystery to them. And everything is a mystery when there's a domination of the lower female energies of the solar plexus. God is a mystery. The afterlife is a mystery. Our purpose in life is a mystery. Uh, the work of Jesus
Electricity.
was a mystery. Everything is a mystery. And they say, well, we'll understand this after we die, and God will explain it to us later on. So don't worry about it. So that's one of the names of this woman purports is known by is the word mystery. Second is Babylon. Now, Babylon signifies confusion, and it's produced by improper mixing of things. For instance, we have the higher creations mixed with the lower. We have socialism mixed with capitalism. We have people that are very selfish, pretending to be benevolent by having hospitals named after them and stuff like that. And so we have a mixture of ingredients in the emotional upside down world, where good seems to be evil and evil seems to be good. And the bad guys can present themselves as the good guys, and the good guys are often attacked and demonized as the bad guys. And in this upside down, emotionally controlled world, we have this confusion where it's almost impossible, if you're looking through this lens of the lower emotions, it's impossible to see what the real truth is. Next part of the name is the great. Okay. The masses see greatness in worldly power and money rather than in spiritual power and intelligence. So we look at people that are very wealthy and powerful, and just because of that alone, we think they're great. They may not be doing anything really significant, but they have power. And these include powerful politicians, powerful people in the financial world, and these are considered the great people of the planet, and they often have tremendous power over people's lives. So they're in harmony with the beast and the fact that they support the outer gods rather than the inner. Fourth part of her name, she's called the mother of harlots. Okay. What do you suppose that means?
Well, a harlot is one that prostitutes and misuses female energy, for one thing.
Yeah, she's a harlot herself, and in other words, she's a mother harlot, so she just multiplies herself. And this comes from the wrong use of money, causes people to prostitute their true nature and their true female energy to money, and this propagates the prostitution of the female energy. Five is last part of the name is the abominations of the earth. Okay, whenever you hear something happening that causes your stomach to turn, there's usually the wrong use of money, and material goods are involved somewhere along the way. So remember, the harlot has a golden cup in her hand, and she wears fine clothes and pearls and jewelry. And you can tell a harlot when you meet one, because they're dressed very provocative, often have jewelry, and the golden cup in her hand symbolizes attractiveness on the physical plane. Men are very strongly attracted to a female prostitute with strong magnetic energy, and they're attracted for not spiritual purposes like the higher female mentioned in Revelations 12, but they're attracted for the satisfaction of the lower self only. But that attraction is very powerful, and it gives the woman tremendous power and the beast that she rides upon, also tremendous power.
So she takes men away from their true path
Yeah.
just by misusing her energy. I mean, it's very seductive.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Okay. And the admiration wasn't necessarily something um, a good admiration. It was just because he was amazed at what he saw when he saw the power of this, the negative aspect of the female energy, drunken with the blood of the saints. Why? How was it that negative female energy caused the saints to be persecuted? It's because probably the best example of that is if you've ever seen a mob in a movie, Stimulated. Somebody says, we need to hang this guy. And then all of a sudden, the whole mob gets together like one voice and they feel a strong lower passion about hanging somebody, and they string them up. And this mob type of mentality affects human beings throughout the planet. And so this mob type of mentality is used to attack the saints or the people that's promoting light and truth and improvement for mankind. When they surface, they're attacked by the lower emotions. Accusations are made against them that make people feel that they are threatening and evil. And so they're attacked by using this lower form of female energy to create fear, jealousy, um, uh, anger toward the lights of the earth. And it's always happened. You know, you go back to the days of Jesus, go back to the days of Galileo, Abraham Lincoln. The ones in history that we know were the good guys, they were all attacked by using, and they were attacked by the use of these lower emotions, anger, fear, and fear of change, uh, caused tremendous attack. Yeah, people don't realize in this age how much Lincoln was attacked. He was attacked. Everybody in the South hated him completely, and half of the people in the North hated him. So he had his own. He had a lot of enemies within his own party. And it wasn't until the war was over, he had victory and was killed, that people began to see him as a great man. Until then, he a lot of people thought he was just a big nuisance. But so it's interesting how things change when we can. History passes, and then we can look back and we can see it with a little more accuracy. But there's still a lot of people in the South that think Lincoln was a bad guy. Even there's still books written on that, but most historians see him as a great president. But anyway, the strong use of the female energy causes uh, people to be drunk with the blood of the saints. And this just seemed to have startled John when he saw this. He probably didn't realize what the root cause of that attacking the saints were. And he saw it quite clearly that it was the misuse of female energy.
Hey, JJ,
Yeah,
I was thinking of someone that sort of embodies that type of character is that Salome character who demanded the head of John the Baptist.
yeah,
How she like lured, she used her sexual energy to demand a righteous man to be killed the way he was killed, and obviously Herod was a good receiver, since I think he just lived out of his lower self.
Yeah, that's a really good example of misuse of female energy to take the blood of the saints. Right there. Good point. Yeah. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her, which have 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and uh, is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast which was, which is, and which is not, and yet is. Okay, so let's first of all, we'll comment on the beast which thou sawest, which was and is not. Let me read it right. Which was and is not, and yet is. Now, this would be the 7th head of the beast. The beast had 7 heads, and the 7th head was wounded as it were to death. And that wound was caused by the Constitution of the United States. It wounded the outer authorities of the earth and give authority to more directed to the common man, to cause him to look within and see his own authority from within. And for a period of time, it appeared that this was going to wound the beast, because other nations started copying our Constitution and the freedoms in it. And it looked like the beast had a deadly wound. But then the dark forces gathered together, and instead of using elected authorities to govern the United States, the powers began to switch to bureaucrats that are not elected. And now almost all the rules and regulations, thousands of them that govern our lives, come from unelected authorities. And thus the deadly wound of the beast is healed. Okay, so this is the beast which was and was not because of the wound, and now it is again. And so the beast is revived in its strength through all the bureaucracies of the planet. I mean, all around the planet, bureaucracies are taking control instead of people that are elected. And they're having more and more power, and they need to be put back in their place. So then it says that this beast shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. And as we said earlier, the bottomless pit is the lower emotions again. And it's like a bottomless pit. It has no end to it. And it's like a pit that when you fall into the trap of being governed by the lower emotions, it's like you're falling into a bottomless pit. And this beast, it says, shall go into perdition. Perdition comes from the Greek word apoleia, which more literally means destruction. So in other words, the fate of the beast is to eventually be destroyed. So the beast had 7 heads, ruling over 7 kingdoms from the beginning of our current civilization. And the last head was wounded as unto death. It come back alive, but still it's said its end will be its destruction. And they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. So when we see the read the history and find out about subduing the head of the beast with the Revolutionary War and how wonderful that was, we wonder about that. And then we wonder, how did we let all of these things that we gained through that struggle, slipped through our fingers to a great degree. So much of what we once had in freedom and security was lost, and we need to gain that back again. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now, Orthodox interpretations say this refers to 7 mountains on which Rome, or 7 hills upon which Rome was built, and that's one symbolism. But the main symbolism is the 7 kingdoms from the beginning of our civilization. And it's also symbolic on the internal side of the 7 chakras within the body of the disciple. Now it says, and they are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So in John's day, the 5 that are fallen would be Egypt, Assyria, Babylonia, Persia, and Greece. The one that is, the 6th one would be the Roman Empire, which existed in the days of John. And the one to come would be the one that we're in right now. And so next it says, and the beast that was and is not and yet is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition or destruction. So the beast with the 7th head, he was the one that but he was wounded, and then he came back, and when he came back to life, he produces the 8th. And the 8th is what we're in right now. The beast had the deadly wound. The outer authorities had the deadly wound. But because of all the bureaucracies that have grown in not only United States government, but other governments of the earth, it healed the deadly wound. And this is the 8th that we're facing right now, which tries to take the place of the inner authority. Say, listen to your outer authorities. They know what's best. Ignore your inner authority. That's the power that the beast has. Okay, any comment on that so far? And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So inwardly, this represents the 10 petals of the solar plexus. The solar plexus governs, again, the lower energies, the lower feelings. And but outwardly, it represents, as it says, 10 kingdoms which have no kingdom as yet. Okay, but in the days of John, pretty much the only thing that had power over anybody was the Roman Empire. That was the main one. But now in this, the final head, we have 10 different divisions, political divisions of the planet. And I submit that this is what they are. 1 is North America, 2, Central and South America, 3, the United Kingdom, including Australia and New Zealand, 4 would be Europe, 5 would be Russia and supporting countries, 6, Africa, 7, India, 8, China and Taiwan, 9, Japan and Korea, and 10 would be the Middle East. So these are 10 kingdoms which people didn't even know about in the days of John. Like I said, they received no power as of yet. But because back in John's day, Rome was pretty much the only power on the whole planet that they knew about in Jerusalem at that time. But now everybody knows about the the powers that's over the whole world, these 10 different divisions. Now, these 10 kings are also represented by 10 divisions of the religious world. And so you have 10 kings, that's physical kingdoms on the earth that cooperate with the beast. And we also have 10 spiritual kingdoms. And here's what they would be. 1, the Roman Catholic Church. 2, Eastern Orthodox Church. 3, the Protestant religions, which would include the LDS in the similar category. 4, the Jews. 5, Islam. 6, Shinto. 7, Taoist. 8, Confucian. 9, Buddhists. And 10, the Hindus. So consider the difference between how it is today back compared to 2,000 years ago in Israel, where about the only kingdoms, spiritual or political, was associated with the Roman Empire or the Jewish state. And that was about all people know about. Now we have a very expanded view where there's 10 categories in religion and politics, and the whole world is exposed to them through our communication systems that we have. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So it's interesting, it says they have one mind, but don't they all disagree with each other? Don't some of the nations want to have friction with each other? And don't some of the religions disagree with each other? How do they have one mind? What do you think? How do they have one mind?
Same level of consciousness.
Right, and they have one mind with one particular idea that the beast supports. The beast doesn't care what your belief is. What the beast cares about is when the outward authority is presented that you must accept. And this is what is presented by all these nations and all these different religions, say that we have the authority, we speak, you obey, okay? And we may be obeying different things, but they all have one mind with this particular idea. We speak, you listen to what the experts say and obey. Okay, don't question. And don't look within. Don't find your own answers, because your own answers won't be accurate. You need to listen to the experts. Okay.
Well, we've heard that before.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So we're going to have a showdown between light and dark. And this will happen at the days where the deadly wound has been healed. There's tremendous political control over people's lives throughout the entire world. And the lights will begin to surface, and they who are called and chosen and faithful and focus on staying true to the inner light, they will be able to prevail, and the beast will go down to perdition. In other words, destruction. We the lights will have power to destroy the belief systems of that support the beast. And that strong belief system isn't pretty much a doctrine or anything, but it's the fact that of leaning on the outer authority over the God within. This is where the destruction has to take place. We have to destroy that idea that safety is in putting your faith in a prophet, priest, king, leader, book, instead of the internal voice that comes from the Spirit itself. That's where the victory will lie.
Like they say, pinning your faith on another man's sleeve.
Yeah. Okay. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are the peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. The water is symbolic again of the lower emotions, and this is where the whore sits and establishes the authority of herself and the beast. And the 10 horns which thou sawest, upon which the beast sitteth, will hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. This is a perplexing verse that Bible scholars have a hard time interpreting. For one thing, the whore was very closely associated with the beast, rode the beast, and yet the 10 horns that are at one with the beast will hate her and will devour her. What is that about? And how could that possibly happen?
Well, she appears to be stronger than the beast.
Yeah.
So they would hate her for that. And, she's very persuasive, more than the beast.
Okay. The whore represents materialism. Okay. And the beast represents authority. Okay. There's two different things. And the strong authority claims to hate the material side. You go to all these religions, they tell you that, these people that are rich are the bad guys of the world. All these capitalists are really bad. And so the whore represents the capitalist system that brings them money and prosperity. And the beast represents that she rides, and the 10 horns that hate the woman, these are 10 kingdoms representing the kingdoms of the world right now. They're all drifting towards socialism, where they say capitalism is bad and it needs to be destroyed, even though with capitalism funded the money, supplied the money and the power for the beast to survive. Still, they hate the woman and they want to attack it. And so we see this happen in the various socialistic nations that surface. They cooperate with the woman and obtain great power. And then after they attain power, they say, we are purists and we are holy and we want to be benevolent, and we don't like billionaires and we don't like millionaires. We don't like the rich. We want, they preach things for the common man, and they attack capitalism. And so this capitalistic female is attacked. Let me read this over, and then you can see the sense that it makes. And the 10 horns which thou sawest, all the kingdoms of the world right now, upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, even though the whore cooperated with them 100% up to this point, but she will be hated by them. And they shall make her desolate and naked, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. And this is what they have tried to do toward the capitalistic system, is to destroy it and establish a social empire. Now, the Soviet Union was very successful in doing that. China has been reasonably successful. North Korea, very successful. Cuba, very successful at doing that. First of all, they're built up by capitalism, and then they attack and try to destroy it. So it's a very interesting interpretation there. Let me see where I'm left off here. For God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of God should be fulfilled. So basically, the socialism will begin to prevail over capitalism until the word of God is fulfilled. And then it says, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So money and power reigns over the kings of the earth, yet even though it reigns over them, the kings of the earth are rebelling and attack those that are the producers and brings them down. And what it will lead to is their destruction, because when capitalism or the woman is destroyed, then the beast evidently, it says, is headed to perdition also. And what this will produce in the end is the domination of the lights of the earth will come forth and teach true principles, which are the best of both worlds, but without the strong authority of the beast. And we'll find that we can have abundance and sharing and all the good things the authorities of the world have claimed to promise us, but will be available to those who follow the inner authority rather than the outer authorities. Okay, any comments on that before we end it here?
So you have to have free enterprise, and then free enterprise develops to a point where it uh, becomes corrupted, and they try to do away with free enterprise and replace it with socialism, or communism, but eventually that falls because you can't have any successful nation or state without free enterprise and capitalism.
Yeah, and the Soviet Union kind of illustrates that cycle. They were originally built up when the Bolshevik Revolution through capitalist investment, and then when they got established, they attacked capitalism and established as pure a socialistic communist empire as they could, and then it couldn't sustain itself and it fell. And this will happen for the whole world eventually. The whole financial systems of the world, or the governmental authority systems of the world, will fall and be replaced by a more free society where people aren't governed by the outer authority; they recognize the inner authority.
Yeah,
Still
Bitcoin will prevail.
Yeah, that might be part of the switchover. Who knows? That would.
I think what's needed is that humanity has to get beyond selfishness and greed.
Yeah. Yeah, we that's people are always in for self-interest. What we need is something that works even with the imperfections of humanity. And humanity as a whole moves one slow step at a time toward going away from being selfish. But then when we're successful and when the nations of the world fall, as is predicted, and are switched over to following the Christ within, then there will be a natural evolution away from the selfishness and greed. And but the outer circumstances have to change eventually.
I'll give you a good example of that is network marketing, where you had to create win-win scenarios. For me to make money, I had to help you make money.
Yeah.
A lot of people made money in multi-level marketing, different products, because there was a lot. It's like J. Paul Getty said, I'd rather have the efforts, 1% of the efforts of 100 other people than 100% of my own efforts. And on that principle, a lot of people became rich, and they helped a lot of people along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of a seventh ray um, aspect of expanding financially.
Yeah, also, Kurt, on what Curtis was talking about, I think with network marketing, it's interesting that like you help other people below you and you elevate, kind of like, God helping us to elevate to his, to godhood, he continues to elevate as well. So it kind of has that sort of um, system where you can only elevate as you help others, and I think it's a very godly thing, in my opinion. I think that's why probably Utah's the capital of network marketing, but you have to be very careful with people that create corrupt compensation plans where only people on the top are making money and no one on the bottom.
Yeah, that's the way it is in the communist countries like North Korea, Cuba, the old Soviet Union. The ones in the party and party leaders lived really good. The rest of the people had to wait in long bread lines to even get food. But
Well, along those lines, Emmanuel, if everybody had one hand up to God and one hand out to their brother, and then their brother grabbed the one hand, and we created this dynamic circle of sharing, receiving, and sending, that would create a whole new paradigm shift,
you know,
and that would take people out of greed.